Welcome to Teacher Tom Hanoi. This is a mock IELTS listening exam. Both the exam paper and the answer sheet are available to download in the video description below. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. I repeat, all the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 parts. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Good luck. Now turn to Part 1. Part 1.
You will hear a conversation between a convention center agent and a customer who is interested in hiring a venue. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Hello. Can I help you?
Hi there. My name is Samantha Harris, and I'm calling from Franklin Insurance. Yes, I wanted to ask about hiring a venue for a conference in June. We are expecting about 60 participants. Have you got anything for that number?
Yes, we have the Wentworth Auditorium. It is 100 square meters, so that will hold all of you. Oh, and the Raleigh Auditorium would also work. It is 80 square meters, which still is more than enough.
Is that free on the 12th of June?
Let me check. Yes it is.
Got it. And what was the name of that one again?
The Raleigh Auditorium. That's R-A-L-E-I-G-H.
Great. And how much is that?
For a full day, the price is £480, but a half day is £250. Costs are slightly higher for Saturdays and Sundays. If you book a full day, you can use the auditorium from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay, we'll only need it from 9 a.m. to about 7 p.m. And what about meals? I was told that the center has dining facilities. We will probably need lunches for everyone.
Yes, we have a good variety of menu options. We can cater meals especially for your group at £15 per person, and our chefs can also prepare special meals, vegetarian, low-fat, low-sugar, and so on, for £18 apiece. Soft drinks, juice, coffee, and tea are included and can be requested from our waiters. And everything is served in Miller Hall, our dining area. Oh, and if you want, we can also do buffet-style service.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 5 to 10.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, there are a couple of things we will need for the conference. We'll need some audiovisual equipment, including a projector, 6 microphones, and a sound system.
We can supply the microphones and sound system at no extra cost, but we don't have a projector at the moment, so you will have to supply that yourself. However, we do have a full-time staff member who deals with setup and equipment.
Great. Oh, and does your facility offer internet access?
Certainly. A password is needed to log on, and it is free for all guests attending events. We change it daily for security reasons, but you can ask someone at the front desk for it and notify everyone else. But our staff will only give the password to those wearing their visitor passes.
Right, that's good to know.
How will your guests be travelling to the conference?
Most of them will be flying in from other locations, but there will be some guests that are driving. I'm not exactly sure how many yet, but I'm guessing a maximum of 20.
Well, then I recommend advance booking of the parking spaces, as they can get full quickly. We charge just £5 per day, and I can reserve as many spaces as you need. We also have a taxi service we work with. They can provide a shuttle bus from the airport that morning if you'd like, which would be £30 an hour.
Okay, let me get back to you on that. Is there anything else I should bear in mind at this point?
Let's see. Oh, will some of your guests need accommodation? We have a business partnership with Hotel Grand Regina, located across the street. Those attending events at the convention centre get discounted rates. They offer different types of rooms, so prices will vary. You've just missed their spring discount, which was 15% off, but they still offer 10% off for people using our facility. It's quite a nice place, and of course very conveniently located.
Oh, really? I'll have to let everyone attending know about that deal.
One more thing. Our staff will take care of clean-up and putting everything away, but we ask that guests discard their trash and recyclables in the bins which are outside of the auditorium. And are you planning to hang up any banners or signs?
Yes, there are some posters we would want to put up.
That's fine. You can hang up what you want. But we just ask that you take them down once your event is concluded. We would like to have everything removed from the hall when you leave.
That won't be a problem. Thanks so much for the information. I have to discuss this with my boss first, but everything sounds perfect. I'll let you know by tomorrow afternoon if we'd like to make the booking.
That is the end of Part 1. You now have 30 seconds to review your answers to Part 1. Now turn to Part 2. Part 2.
You will hear a talk given by a guide about an Asian ceramics exhibition. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Thank you all for coming to Birmingham's very first exhibition of Asian ceramics and pottery. There is a lot to see today, so I will quickly give you an explanation of what we have in store, and then I will lead you through the exhibition. So, we have separated the exhibit space into three main areas, with pieces from various eras on loan from museums across the Asian continent. In each area, we will stop and I'll give you an explanation of some of the items on display. In addition, we have two areas for interactive displays. The first is near the exhibit hall's main entrance and is where you can observe expert potters crafting vases or other vessels using traditional equipment. You can also go there at 2 p.m. to try creating a small ceramic cup or bowl for yourself during our interactive activity. The second interactive display is situated in the rear of the hall next to our snack bar. There, you can paint and glaze your own teacup with the help of ceramic experts. These activities will not be part of our tour, but are things you can do afterwards. First, we will head to the Korean ceramics area. Many believe that some of the more technical aspects of Asian ceramics originated in China or Japan, but historically, Korean potters were renowned within the region as master ceramic artists. We have a range of stunning pieces from Korea, including some beautiful celadon vases which are around 1,000 years old, some lovely porcelain wine jars from the Joseon dynasty, and some small household pieces from the Goryeo dynasty, which are notable for their lovely bamboo patterns. We also have a small exhibit of exceptional pieces on loan from museums in Korea, so make sure to see those too. Next, we will head to the Japanese exhibit. We have samples from many major periods, including some glazed stoneware and earthenware cups. There are also several examples of Japanese banquet sets from different periods of the country's history, which were renowned in Asia for centuries. And if you register for the audio guide, you can hear about the influence of trade on Japan's pottery and how foreign influences were translated into ancient Japanese artistic style. Now, following the Japanese exhibit, we will come to the largest exhibit at this exhibition, the one featuring objects from China. We have a larger number of pieces in this exhibit than in any other, as China was the most influential nation in ancient ceramic commerce. It was able to manufacture ceramics on a large scale using techniques unknown to its competitors. We have some fantastic works, including a Ming Dynasty vase, which is a quite well-known piece, as it was an actual possession of the emperor.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 17 to 20.
To end our tour, we will check out an exhibit of ceramics from contemporary masters of the art. Works from more than 20 artists will be on display and available for purchase. Included will be an assortment of vases and other decorative vessels from renowned potter Kenichi Takagawa. Famous for his modern interpretation of traditional Japanese designs, Mr. Takagawa will have dozens of items on display and for sale. He has developed a global reputation for his bright, hand-painted floral designs. Mr. Takagawa's works always sell quickly. Also, traditional serving dishes, plates and bowls from Korean ceramicist Min Hee-jung will be exhibited and available for purchase. Using traditional green glaze, Ms. Jung's dishes are very sought after around the globe. Decorated in traditional Korean motifs of cranes and clouds, her dishes are very popular with visitors. And then there will also be a large selection of ceramic works from Lillian Wong from Hong Kong. The ceramics for sale from her include an assortment of traditional Chinese teapots and teacups. Known for their brilliant blue and white patterned glazes, Ms. Wong's ceramics have been showcased in art capitals around the world. And there will be a variety of different objects for sale from other ceramicists from around Asia. In addition, we also have numerous ceramic sculptures on display in the lobby from Chinese artist Wei Lin-shen. However, these large-scale works are only on loan and not available for sale. Purchases of any other items can be made by cash or credit card. Anyway, we have a lot to see this morning, so if you'll follow me, we will get started with our first display area.
That is the end of Part 2. You now have 30 seconds to review your answers to Part 2. Now turn to Part 3. Part 3.
You will hear a discussion between two students discussing plans for an upcoming geology field trip. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Good morning, Sharon.
Hi, Eric. I was thinking about where we should go to collect samples for our geology project.
Yes, we should start planning that field trip soon. Have you come up with any ideas?
I'm not sure about it, as I've not been there, but the Laxford Bray Road section in Scotland would be a great place. I guess they were cutting through this hill to build a section of road in the past, and it revealed all these interesting colourful layers of stone of all different types.
Yes, that's a good idea. I've been there, and it has some great examples of layering and the processes of rock formation. But unfortunately, they don't allow visitors to take samples, and that's something we will need to do. We can certainly take some photographs of geological formations there, though.
Ah, I didn't realise they don't allow sampling at Laxford Bray. Well, we could take a quick visit there and then go to another nearby location. I was thinking about Sicker Point. It has quite a lot of fantastic coastal rock formations. You can actually see examples of the formation of mountains and other complex rock structures, all made in a variety of different stone. It was great to see all of them in just one location.
And what about sampling there?
Yes, they do allow collecting of samples from the site, but you have to buy special permits for school or research groups. I think it's only £20 per group, so that's definitely an advantage of that site.
Yes, I like that idea. I was at Sycamore Point in the early 2000s and again 5 years ago. Both times I was very impressed with the geological variety. I think we can get some fine specimens.
What should the focus be for the sampling?
Well, maybe we can gather specimens of rock that have been formed through one or more of the three primary types of geological formation: erosion, deposit, and folding, which should all be available at Sycamore Point.
Right, that should be straightforward enough.
But we will have to be careful not to damage any formations or the natural surroundings when collecting samples.
Absolutely. I know there are certain areas that are off limits for sample collecting, so we will need to find out where they are and avoid them. And I think there are also guidelines we need to follow with regard to the quantity of specimens we can take and removal procedures as well. We can probably find that information on their website.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 27 to 30.
And there is already quite a lot of research on the site that we can review before we go on the trip. I think it might be a good idea to review some of James Hutton's work and include some of his study findings in our project. He discovered Sycamore Point's geological significance back in the 1700s.
That's right. He studied geological formations at the site. He wrote a lot about folding and deposition processes and how they created the stone structures at Sycamore Point. You know, we might want to focus on those processes for our project.
Yes, that would work. We can probably add the erosion process too. There are lots of examples of wind and water erosion there. It's fascinating to see how the elements have created so many interesting shapes.
In that case, we should probably include other academic sources in addition to James Hutton. What about the research of James Hall and John Playfair? They worked directly with James Hutton and helped in mapping the area, focusing on specific types of formations, such as those created by erosion, because the variety at the site was so vast. I think we can include their findings in addition to Hutton's work.
Also, didn't Ian Stewart do research at Sycamore Point?
You're right. Yes, he's even made some documentary videos about the significance of the site.
Yes, I watched those. They were quite informative and included a lot of current geological information on the site. So it might be good to include some of Stuart's research for a contemporary viewpoint.
Yes, we should do that. Anyway, I don't have anything to do tomorrow morning, so I can write up the plan summary. I know you're busy Monday, but maybe on Tuesday you can start collecting research data from other academic sources about the geological formations at the site. I think Professor Franklin asked for the summary by Friday, and if she approves, we can go ahead and make the necessary arrangements for collecting specimens.
Sure, I can see what other sources I can find in addition to the ones we discussed.
Okay, well, let's meet again tomorrow afternoon to get everything together before the deadline.
That's fine with me. Just let me know when you're...
That is the end of Part 3. You now have 30 seconds to review your answers to Part 3. Now turn to Part 4. Part 4.
You will hear a lecture from a professor in a biology class about bowerbirds. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 35. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 35.
So today, I'd like us to focus on birds that collect objects, sometimes referred to as collector birds. These include such species as ravens, crows, and magpies. But first, I want to discuss bowerbirds. Male bowerbirds are very well known for gathering objects such as colored stones, feathers, shiny or metallic items, and even flowers and leaves. But unlike ravens, crows, and magpies, the male bowerbirds don't collect these objects just because they strike their fancy. Found in Australia and New Guinea, these gardener birds actually use the objects they collect for a specific purpose. The birds were given this name because of their habit of creating yards, gardens, or structures decorated with their collected items. So, the male bowerbirds construct shelters made of sticks, grass, leaves, twigs, and other debris collected from nearby trees. These shelters are known as bowers and are then decorated with the collected objects, so they are usually very easily recognizable. It's important to note that the bowerbird structures look nothing like nests. They are actually more like buildings than traditional birds' nests, many with walls, roofs, and pathways. But there is variety in the types of shelters they build. Researchers studying bowerbirds have now categorized the bowers into 3 different classifications. First, there is the mat or platform type of bower. It's usually an elevated pad, and the male bowerbirds put decorations on top of it or around it. The platform bower's design is fairly simple, but it is often lavishly decorated to make up for a lack of structural complexity. And then, the next type is the maypole bower. It is sort of a tower that's built around a small tree, but many have been known to reach heights of up to 9 feet. So the scale and complexity of construction is quite a bit more impressive than, for example, the platform bower. The maypole bower is also decorated with bits of collected treasure, although less extravagantly, as the structures themselves are quite attractive. The third type of bower has 2 walls that run parallel and sort of create an archway. These are called avenue bowers, and what makes them very striking is that the bowerbirds will even spread gravel around it to make a yard or a garden area. It is interesting to note that these particular types of bowers are often purposely located near attractive trees or shrubs so that they are in attractive surroundings. Avenue bowers are tent-like in structure, and like the other types, they too are decorated with feathers or other colorful debris.
Before you hear the rest of the lecture, you have some time to look at questions 36 to 40. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 36 to 40.
But, like other collector birds, the bowerbirds can be very aggressive when it comes to these collected treasures. Often, male bowerbirds will attempt to steal attractive objects from other males in order to make their own structures more attractive. Naturally, male bowerbirds are very protective of their bowers and become quite aggressive when thieves attempt to steal their treasures. So, let's look at the reason why the male bowerbirds go through all this trouble to build these structures and decorate them so elaborately. Well, it is all part of their mating ritual. The little homes are decorated in order to attract female bowerbirds and convince them to move in and become a mate. The female birds will come and inspect the bowers, and if they like what they see on the first visit, they return a second time to see if the builder is home. They check out the bowers again as well as their suitors. Male bowerbirds often perform a dance of sorts and urge the females to move into the well-decorated structures. And females will then decide whether or not they will mate with an interested male suitor. However, at this point, we come across a very interesting situation. Some female bowerbirds are more drawn to an attractive male with lots of colorful plumage or feathers, but with a rather simple bower with minimal decoration. Others are drawn more to a fancier structure and perhaps a less attractive mate. And so we do tend to see males that are less eye-catching build structures that are quite elaborate and intricately decorated. Attractive males, on the other hand, don't put as much work into their bowers. But then we do occasionally see less attractive males who don't put much effort into their bowers at all. And often they end up mateless. And vice versa, we occasionally see attractive males building very well-decorated structures, and they can end up having several mates. Okay, now let's carry on with crows and ravens, which are...
Now turn to Part 4. Part 4. That is the end of the mock IELTS listening exam. You now have 10 minutes to review and transfer your answers from the exam paper to the answer sheet provided. Thank you for your attention. Let us know in the comments what score you got. Also, please like and subscribe for more mock IELTS exams. Thank you, and see you in the next video.